All right, guys, let's get into the conversation of President Donald Trump supposedly having coronavirus. Supposedly being the operative word there. And the reason I say that, before we get into this conversation, what I want to say is that 95%, 96%, I don't even know what percentage to place this at, but it's really high. A lot of what comes out of Washington, D.C. is cover. It's a cover story, okay? Whether it's a cover story being put out there by the bad guys to cover their own ass, or whether it's a cover story being put out there by the good guys because they're trying to go after the bad guys, whatever it is, okay? So much of what we hear, not just in the mainstream media, but what comes out of Washington, D.C. is cover. It's an illusion, okay? It's not really what's going on. So I'm going to go down different paths in terms of this conversation. We're going to talk about the presumption of Donald Trump having COVID, and the story that we're hearing is true. Then we're going to talk about, well, what if Donald Trump doesn't really have COVID, which is the more fun conversation. But first, let's go down the path. Let's go down the presumption that what we're hearing in the media, or what we're being told by the Trump administration per se, is true. What if Donald Trump really does have COVID-19? Well, first of all, I don't think there ain't shit to worry about, like nothing to be scared of. A lot of people are freaking out. Oh my gosh, President Trump, which, yes, send him your prayers, send him your well wishes. Absolutely, don't get me wrong. But, come on, man, we know how faked the statistics are. We know the coronavirus is much more mild than we've been led to believe by the mainstream media for the past 8 months. Plus, we very well know that there are dozens and dozens of compounds and chemicals and remedies and natural herbs and all kinds of things that can kill or cure or treat or manage, or I don't know, use whatever health descriptor you want here. But there's dozens of things out there that could deal with the coronavirus. So, and I even have access to a couple of those things right now in my cupboard. So if I have some stuff that could kill or treat COVID, then you can just imagine what the President of the United States has access to. So I don't think there's anything to worry about if Donald Trump really has the coronavirus, okay? It's all good. Don't fret. He's in good care. He's a strong warrior. He'll be all right. Now, let's go down the other presumption, the other path, the other conversation. What if this is all a big fat cover story and the President of the United States does not actually have COVID? Honestly, I get the feeling that that is probably more likely the case. And that's just going off intuition. That's just an opinion. That is me basing that on jack shit except my own thoughts and whims, okay? What if President Trump really doesn't have COVID? Well, if he doesn't, but President Trump and the admin there are telling the world that he does have COVID, like, that is the ultimate optic. The ultimate optic. Because what does that do? Well, number one, gives them an incredibly good reason to isolate the president, to get him into quarantine somewhere safe where, isolation, right? So they can isolate him that way with that particular cover story. Not just that, but now it also forces even the worst of Trump haters, not the worst of Trump haters. We're still seeing some assholes out there that are wishing death upon Trump, as awful as that is. But it's forcing even people who hate him to drop that hate for a moment and show some compassion. They're being forced to show compassion for the president. And what that then also creates is this extra polarization, whereby you have the just evil, vile folk out there who are wishing that COVID takes Trump, right? They're putting out their vile out there. They're just disgusting thoughts and comments. That is polarizing the moderates out there who aren't really Trump voters, Trump supporters, but they're not Trump haters either. They're just the moderate folk. They're probably thinking like, oh, I don't, maybe I'm not a fan of Trump, because they probably believe too much of, what's going on in the media. But they don't wish harm upon him. So they're like, oh, prayers, I hope he gets better. But then those moderates, those people who are on the fence with Trump, they look over here as to what's going on with the I guess we could call them super far left people or whatever. The people who are all hoping Trump dies. They're seeing that and they're like, whoa, that's nuts. That's too much. That I'm not okay with. You know what? We've been hearing for like the last week, everybody wants Trump to denounce all this hate. Denounce hate, Trump. But then now, with Trump having COVID, we're looking over here at the far left people with their hate that they're spewing against Trump. So it's like, what a narrative change. And again, those people on the fence, those moderates in the middle, they're looking at that vial, and it's going to polarize them the other way. So, I mean, there's a few handy-dandy strategery things that could be done if, again, presuming that Trump really doesn't have COVID and this is a cover story. We got the isolation, we got the propaganda, information warfare aspect of it. Man, and yeah, you know, what if this really is just a big cover op and the next 10 days are going to be nuts? Like, I think we could really see some huge stuff happen over the next 10 days while POTUS is isolated, while he's away from things. I believe Congress is sort of adjourning, but not really. They're still going to hold some of their committees, and they're still going to hold that vote on Supreme Court Justice Barrett there. So, man, I'm excited, man. I'm cooking up the popcorn over what's going to come over the next week or two. I think this is, you know, the start of some big stuff happening. I'm not going to say that it's going to be the arrest of all the top perpetrators that we want. I don't think it's going to come to that. But I do think we could see something happen. Something. Maybe the next indictment with Obamagate, which could go a little higher than Kevin Klein-Smith. Maybe not like the Brennan part of the chain, Clapper and Obama and them, but hey, it could be like a McCabe or a Peter Strzok or a Lisa Page or something like that. That might be next on the list. Or we could see some other stuff, but this could be an October surprise that the white hats are pulling. Okay? Maybe. Again, speculation all throughout this video, but I'm just looking at it through different presumptions because Lord knows what we see in the mainstream media, we can't take the grain of salt with, right? So you have to look past these things, and you have to, this day and age, as we've been, you know, so graciously learned from Q and them, you know, it's the world of illusion. You have to look at things, well, what could really be going on? Always ask yourself that. So just some speculations for you guys. Just wanted to have a talk about this. Heck, maybe Donald Trump comes out in like 10 to 14 days and tells the world, I took hydroxychloroquine, it's gone. And then, wow, he's showing everybody how mild it is. His hydroxychloroquine works. You know, I'm a little partial. I'm a little biased. I would rather have him take that disinfectant just because I think that stuff's great. But whatever it is, you know, there's like so many different ways this could go. And I only seeing it go in ways that are positive for the white hats. And even if Trump has COVID, in my opinion, nothing to worry about. He's in the care of the world's best. And like I said, there's many ways to handle it. I even have a few ways in my own cupboard. So that means Trump's got, you know, who knows what he has access to. It's all going to be good, folks. It's all going to be all right. And I'm going to get my popcorn ready because I think the next week or two is going to be good. That's it for this one. See you guys in the next video. Done.